Okay, so let me ask you all, on its face, well, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the words Anglo-Saxon American political party? Yikes, that's good. Hi YouTube, that makes sense. British equals bad, KKK, sounds about right. Representing us beleaguered white folks, yeah, you really need it. Some races don't know much about history. That is absolutely true, because let me tell you, everyone's favorite conspiracy QAnon mom, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was found out today to be working with her fellow colleague Republican Paul Gosar. You may be remembering that name. He's also a bad human being. Paul Gosar and Marjorie Taylor Greene put their two big brains together and was thinking of how to move forward in a Republican Party that is still shirking from the glorious light of Donald J. Trump himself, the God, King, Emperor of the United States. So, obviously, it's time to make a party about your very specific, very extremely weird, and very wildly close to white nationalist talking points political party based completely on an old medieval British ethnicity, Anglo-Saxon party that is going to be completely formed around the political and traditional values of the Anglo-Saxons. Because that's what normal people do. Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia and Paul Gosar from Arizona are starting a right-wing caucus in Congress that seeks to follow the President Trump's footsteps, which could prove to be yet another thorn in the side of Republican leaders that are already struggling to unite a bitterly divided party. Among the group's positions are beliefs unfounded claims of widespread election fraud and the support of voter restrictions, as well as an effort to roll back all coronavirus safety measures and to make sure that we do not overreact to the pandemic the same way again. Man, they're so good at this. Representative Louis Gohmert, if you remember Gohmert, you may not have seen the story. We did a story on it on the channel a little while ago. So Gohmert was one of the first politicians in Congress, one of the first Republicans, first people in Congress to actually contract coronavirus earlier last year, and he didn't tell his staff. Actually, he tested positive for COVID. He didn't wear a mask. He walked around his staff without a mask on, just kind of spitting COVID at them. And his staff actually found out that he had COVID when Politico made an article about it. So he didn't even tell them. And then after it came out that he had COVID around them for days, he gathered them all up in a small room with him, once again with no mask, and talked to them about how he has COVID. So honestly, he's, on the Republican side, even while doing that, that probably makes him one of the better Republicans. Just let's be completely honest. Even he said that he reported to Punchbowl News that he agreed to join and told Forbes he is looking at joining the America First Caucus, but said he hasn't seen the language about immigration and claims the group is not supposed to be about race at all. Guys, it's not about race at all. It's not about race, my dude. Not at all, my guys. Not at all. We're stronger, diversified, Gohmert said when he was asked about the incendiary language in the platform, adding that there are things that help make us strong. Slavery nearly destroyed us. It was a horrendous thing. Nick Dyer, a spokesman for Greene, confirmed the existence of the group to Forbes in a statement she said, and mind you, let's Nick. So remember Nick, okay? When Marjorie Taylor Greene she's gonna mention this in a second. Remember Nick, her literal spokesperson, okay, who came out and confirmed the existence of the idea of this party. Be on the lookout for the public release of the American First Caucus platform when it's released publicly very soon. So this is Greene's actual spokesman. Okay, and she had a little bit of support from this, Gohmert right there, who actually tried to kill some of his staff, and Matt Gaetz even came out as well to be like, man, this is so cool. I'm proud to join Marjorie Taylor Greene in the hashtag America First Caucus. We will end war, stop illegal immigration, and promote trade that is fair for American workers. This is just a hit piece of America's last crowd, the big media, big tech, and big government. Oh no, they're really hating on the America First Caucus, dude. But I'm so glad that at the very least Marjorie Taylor Greene is standing up for the Oh, she already backed down from it. Oof. Already in one night, it was so bad for her because this released last night. It was so bad for her that she backed off of this. And I'm not even talking about like a normal back pedal. She kicked it into sixth gear. She like pedaled to the floor, sort of like flying backwards through a brick wall, and didn't even stop, sort of backpedaling. Okay. Cancel culture. She's canceling herself. It's really bad. So let's go through a little thing that she wrote, okay? A couple hours ago. This is still hot, fresh news, okay? You can't say that I don't bring you the freshest news on the block, because I absolutely do. Listen to this. Do you know who really runs this country? The liars, the psychotic left-wing communists in the media, who only care about self-awarded Pulitzers, clicks for cash, and pushing weak politicians around. On Thursday, I buried my father and held my mother's hand as we said goodbye. On Friday, the sick, evil piece of shit media attacked me with phrases I never said or wrote. They released a staff-level draft proposal from an outside group that I haven't even read. The scum and liars in the media are calling me racist for taking something out of context. Wait a second. Wait, is it out of context, or did you not read it? So do you know the context and you know it's out of context, which means you read it, or you didn't read it and you're just saying it's out of context to save your own ass? Really interesting that, huh? Something tells me that she's lying. This is just a repeat of the Jewish space lasers, another term I never used in the media that the media made up. It's more proof so-called journalists lie and create false narratives, and the media are the ones focused on race and use it to divide the American people with their hate through identity politics. I believe in America first. Oh, well, there it is right there, buddy, huh? With all my heart, and this means that every American of race, creed, or color, I will never back down, and I will never stop fighting for America first. There are tens of millions of Americans who agree. So yeah, and then she goes on to talk about how much she'd like love to just guck on Trump's like fat America first cock or something. I mean, she already like sexually assaulted his cardboard cutout. You remember that? You guys remember that? Remember when she like started groping the cardboard cutout of Trump? Like, and it was like and she like brings this cardboard cutout. You know this, right? You guys seen this story, right? It was like this cardboard cutout of Trump that she takes with her everywhere, and you can see that it's all like sort of beat up. You know for a fact that she like tucks it into bed at night in like in her hotel. Yeah, and then she like goes up on stage and starts like massaging where his like cardboard dick would be on stage, and she just start like groping, just sexually assaulting the cardboard cutout. Yeah, it wasn't good. Bad times, mind you, bad times. There's a little bit of contradiction here. Her actual spokesman came out that said that Marjorie Taylor Greene, this is her thing, and she's going to be like helping release this America First Anglo-Saxon platform. But at the same time, she's saying she doesn't know it existed, but also she knows. But what I can tell you is that we have the platform. It's been released. Let me show you this real quick. The America First Policy Platform. Hey, boys, let's go. The AFC. Let's go, my boys. This is so cool. I am so excited. To see what the America First platform has on it. And it's definitely probably not Nazi adjacent, right? Couldn't be. On immigration, because you know this is the part where it gets really bad. The America First Caucus recognizes the country is more than a mass of consumers or a series of abstract ideas. This is Nazi language. All right, let's be completely honest here. This shit is just Nazi language. All right, where you talk about the borders and it's the consumers and the bigwigs and the bankers and them the owning these big owners. You know how all they want us to do is consume. They consume and then the Juarez family moves in next door and all we do is consume. This is all Nazi rhetoric. We have to appeal to something bigger, guys. We can't just consume, and this is not just abstract ideas. We're more than that. We're an Anglo-Saxon nation. America is a nation with a border and a culture and strengthened by a common respect for its uniquely Anglo-Saxon political traditions. Really interesting, huh? History has shown that a societal trust and a political unity is threatened by foreign citizens. My bad. Wait, I gotta read this one again because this one's actually giving me a little bit of an aneurysm. Wait a second. Expando. Too much expando. History has shown that societal trust and political unity are threatened when foreign citizens are imported en masse into a country, particularly without institutional support for assimilation and an expansive welfare state to bail them out should they fail to contribute positively to the country. When certain economic and financial interest groups benefit immensely from mass immigration, legal as well as illegal. Mind you, when Republicans try and tell you like, oh, we don't care, guys, we don't care about legal immigration, it's just illegal immigration. Nah, dog, they care a lot about that legal immigration, okay? And the aggregate output of the country increases, the reality of large segments of our society, as well as the long-term existential future of America as a unique country with a unique culture and a unique identity being put at unnecessary risk is something our leaders can't afford to ignore no longer. Come on, dude. Okay, every time I hear a conservative talk about, guys, the right is so good at pushing out the radical extremist fringes of the party out. Wrong, okay? The Republican base has become the radicals, all right? When this starts to sing home with conservatives, when Tucker Carlson's segments about immigrants making us dirty, more degenerate, and more divided starts to hit home with actual conservatives, I'm sorry, you did not push out the radicals. You moved your Overton window to be the radicals, and now the only thing that's the political extremist to you are self-avowed Nazis. When that is the only thing further right than you, then you know that you have a massive problem. When you can talk about Anglo-Saxon ideas. Here, 1 second. When this is what you aspire for your party to be, okay? When this is what you aspire for your party to be, you've gone wrong. You've gone so incredibly wrong, all right? Where your party has just become a group of actual literal LARPers looking to go back to tradition of your freaking mud huts, all right? And your Viking shields. Are we LARPing? Absolutely we're LARPing. Because they want to bring back the Anglo-Saxon values, all right? Our values are not Anglo-Saxon values, all right? It's absolutely ridiculous. You know what Anglo-Saxon values are? This shit, and then worshiping the queen in 2021, all right? These are not Anglo-Saxon values. Britain still has a queen, okay? And they still literally lick her toes. They do it. People in Britain line up to stick their tongue out through their jagged teeth and lick her toes. They do it. They lick her toes? They do. There is a specific day in Britain where all of the people who love the queen line up and they start slobbering on her pinky toe. And they love it, okay? That's Anglo-Saxon values. The people who escaped that did not have this weird idea of Anglo-Saxon values. It's ridiculous. And if they did, then they would have enshrined it into the Constitution. But every single time they want to talk about things that the founding fathers had this idea and that idea, but they never wrote it into the actual Constitution. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like you're post hoc trying to justify your own racism, your own xenophobia, your own homophobia, your own transphobia, your own sexism and racism into the Constitution where it just wasn't there originally. And this is what we're left with. A bunch of shitty LARPers who see that brown people are now making some amount of money in the country, freaking out because no longer can they just laugh at them from afar and call them like dirty shithole barefoot monkeys or whatever, because now they're living right next to them and their daughter's going to date one. Oh no, oh the humanity. So they come out with their Anglo-Saxon America First Caucus party, or an attempt for their party, to try and change course. And this is what I'm saying. I'm telling you guys, they're getting more out and out of avowed. They're creeping closer and closer to these values of actual fascism. When people like Tucker Carlson comes out on his show and says, man, if these leftists keep going on the path of gay rights and immigration rights and trans rights, then we may have to just pick a fascist. We may just have to start voting for fascists because they've just gone too far off the deep end, dude. So we're just gonna have to start Dallas Birkenau. We're just gonna have to start freaking New York Birkenau. There's nothing that we can do about it, guy. Look what you're making us do. Look at what you're making us do. We're gonna have to crack the glass and pull the fascism switch, my dude. Stop giving people rights. They hate when other people have rights. It's ridiculous. And it's incredibly sad that this is what we have to deal with now in this party with these people. Instead of actually dealing with real problems like social inequity, we have to deal with these made up fake problems that they made for themselves to cry bully about other people having rights in the country. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't doubt that these people... Wait, isn't Nick Fuentes actually working with Republican politicians right now? I was gonna say, like, they're gonna start using Fuentes's like America First flag sometime soon, which they may actually start. Apparently, Fuentes is working with actual politicians. Here, let me see. He's represented from your state. He's a huge dingus. Well, he's getting even more dingusy-er because Paul Gosar spoke to a white nationalist conference as they chanted his name. So, yeah, this guy, he's a real interesting character, huh? Man, the writer's so good at pushing crazies out of their party. Man, that's so cool. Man, the writer's so good at gatekeeping the extremists out of their party, man. Arizona Congressman Paul Gosar surveyed the crowd as he settled in the podium for the February 26th headline speech at the America First Political Action Conference, the event organized by a young white nationalist. Wow, what a group, Gosar, a Republican from Prescott, told the crowd in Orlando, Florida, launching into a speech which he railed against the deep state and talked about the importance of building an impenetrable wall along America's southern border, and how cancel culture is a greater concern than the climate crisis. When Gosar finished, the event concluded with a 67-minute speech by a 22-year-old white nationalist named Nick Fuentes. The conference organizer, who called the January 6th riots awesome and demanded elected leaders like Gosar enact protections for the country's white demographic core. Yeah. Gosar attempted to distance himself from Fuentes and in a speaking engagement, saying the next day that he denounces white racism. Guys, I really hate white racism, guys. Paul Gosar is now a confirmed groiper. A user in a Discord chat said in February. I don't think we need them to explain what groipers are. So there you go. Congratulations, all my Arizona Deuterinos. One of your representatives is an avowed. He's an honorary groiper. He has been accepted into the club. He can groip with the best of them. Yeah, and that's the world that we live in. It's a hell of a world we live in. It's a hell of a world.